How's it going, everyone? I thought I'd give a quick update since I haven't done a video in a while. Last one was back in Perth for a mango tasting. I've since purchased this acre block a few months back, which I've cleared of all the trees and started to plant my own trees in the meantime while I'm in the planning process to build a house here. So this is 1 acre block. The neighbour down the back has almost finished building their house as well. This block is located about half an hour inland from Geelong in Victoria. So it's still in decent proximity to amenities and all those sort of things, including the beachfront. So it's not too far from civilization. So some of the trees I have planted so far include the piranha pines, which are native to Brazil. So this is one of them. I have planted 5. I'm hoping that I end up with around 2 males and 3 females, but I don't know until they start flowering. So it's a big mystery until that point. You never know, I might end up with 1 female and 4 males, which would be undesirable, but sometimes that's life. I have had the water service installed as well. Pretty good pressure this way. Yeah, almost like a fire hose. So I'm quite surprised about that. I've got another tap down there, and I've also got 8 cherimoya seedlings planted, which I grew from seed about a year and a half ago. So they're still a bit spindly, but I do intend to graft onto them later this year in springtime. So they are starting to push out some lateral branches there. Hopefully they will be big enough to graft onto later this year after everything wakes up again. They are getting smashed around in the wind and the heat a bit. We've got 40 degrees tomorrow, so I came here today to do some deep watering with my watering can. So hopefully they should be able to be ready for the heat over the next few days. We're expecting 40 degrees on a couple days. So I do have a big mulch pile here as well, part of what's left over from all the big trees that were cut down. So over here I've got 4 and then 2 at the back, so 6 total of pawpaw trees. So these are the North American pawpaws, which are related to the Annona family. So think of your cherimoyas or ashamoyas, it's in that family. And the reason why I've got shade cloth on them and not some of the other trees is because these ones are particularly sensitive to full sun in the first couple of years of planting in the ground. So as a precaution, I've planted them with shade cloth. I'm sort of trying to film through it at the moment just to give you an idea of what the trees look like. So you can see a somewhat healthy pawpaw inside there. So there's 6 different grafted varieties from different parts of Melbourne, from material taken of mature trees. I will flash on the varieties on the screen for you to see. Here's another one, if I can get it to see. There's sort of, it's going pretty well. Not far from the top actually. So hopefully I hope they don't touch the top, because I don't want to have to cut this open anytime early. In the center here I've also got a Chandler walnut. In hindsight, I should have probably shaded this one as well, because it's sort of, it's not growing too fast, but I'm sure it will be fine. Walnuts are known to be vigorous trees, so it's actually grafted onto a black North American walnut as the rootstock. And these are known to produce a toxin called juglone, I think it's called. And the reason why I've planted the pawpaws around it is because they are known to actually grow around black walnut in the States, and supposedly actually grow better in proximity to the black walnut, which is I'm hoping can sort of work in this location. So yeah, I've got these piranha pines over here as well. This one's doing pretty good. So yeah, you can see all this new growth at the top is sort of almost double the size of the alder growth from when it was in a pot, which sort of tells me that the roots are well becoming established. It's only been in the ground for about, I'd say, 3 months, so that's good to see. They're spaced 15 meters apart at their mature stage at about 50 years of age. Not meaning that it doesn't fruit or grow nuts until then, but they get to their maximum sort of size at around the 50-year mark, when they become more of an umbrella shape as opposed to a traditional Christmas tree sort of shape. And at that stage, the crown, so from edge to edge, is about 20 meters wide. So having that 15 meter spacing should give leeway of a few meters of space between each of these pine trees. So the other one's down there past the pawpaw. So this pawpaw is located roughly about middle mark of both trees. And I've got the last one further down there. So yeah, this one's doing pretty good as well. Nice growth at the top. That main stem has noticeably gotten thicker as well since planting it in the ground. So yeah, I'll just proceed to walk down here to the other area where these other trees are planted. I've tried to avoid planting anywhere too close to the middle, so it doesn't encroach in the construction area once the house is being built. So further down here, and also yeah, these are all areas where trees were previously planted, so they're all gone now. So over here I've got an enormously locust, or loquat, depends on which part of the world you're from, how you want to pronounce it. I've got Brazilian cherries as well, pitanga, from different sources. For example, this one, as well as the other one down there, is sourced from Mexican seed. So I got that sent through via snail mail. They seem to be doing okay in this exposed position. It can get quite windy where this block is. This is a black beauty pitanga. It seems to be sort of struggling a bit because I dug it out of the ground at my mum's place, where I planted it about 5 years ago. Hopefully it should recover well. At this point, it is sort of struggling a bit, but the leaves are still green. I guess until it gets established, it'll look a bit stressed out. But I'll make sure to give that a decent water today to help in that process. Yeah, this Mexican seedling's looking pretty good. This one is from Danny, up in Queensland. I think it's one of those larger leaf varieties. And then I've got another locust here, Herd's Mammoth. Recently found out that the fruit actually aren't that big, which is bit confusing to me. I was expecting something along the lines of the enormity like down there, but anyway, we'll judge it once it's sort of mature and fruiting properly. I've got some of these, what do you call them, yellow Djibouti carvers here that I grew from seed. They seem to be getting insect attack on the new growth, so I'm going to have to eventually spray something on there to sort of help that along, because it keeps getting smashed by something. And then over here we've got another large leaf patanga that was generously donated to me by a bloke named Paul. Thanks, Paul. It seems to be doing great. It's dropped all its old leaves and it's pushing a lot of new growth. It's looking very happy now. A lot of new growth is coming out, and yeah, those new leaves are quite big compared to some other patangas that I've got down that row. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the fruit turns out, but yeah, it's looking pretty happy. And then along here I've got a dwarf Lisbon lemon. Yeah, I don't want it to get too big, especially when it's 3 meters apart from each plant. Over here I've also got a lime called a sweet lime, whatever that means. They should do fine, I guess, once they're properly established. I only planted these ones a few weeks ago, and they're adjacent to the gum tree next door. I am about to plant over here as well a macadamia nut. So this one is from Daly's, Gyros it's called. I think it comes from a Greek family, and this is sourced from a cutting. I think that's what the C means. So yeah, it's been doing fine, exposed to full sun in a pot, so maybe I'll just plant it over there and it should do well. So yeah, that's a quick summary of the acre. And yes, somewhere along the back here in this spot I do intend to get a sort of commercial sized greenhouse put in, about, I don't know, something close to 30 meters long and about 10 meters wide would be my preference. Imported from China for the sake of cost. I've had a few good quotes for that given, so see how I go with getting that imported and actually built. So a lot of my more sensitive plants would go into that. So I'll run through the collection I've still got at the rental I'm in at the moment and give you an idea of what I'm planning to put into the greenhouse, as well as other plants that I'm planning to put outside once the house is built. I don't think I'm going to plant too much more than what's already in the ground at the moment, purely because I don't want the builders to actually or accidentally damage the trees. So I think that's it for now. And I'll carry on to the other side of the collection that I've still got in pots. Hi everyone. So yeah, I'm just filming back at the rental I'm staying at the moment, and thought I'd just sort of show the plants I'm intending to put in the greenhouse when that's up and running. One of the first plants I'll show you here is the Pityria sp acre. So it's a it is native to South America. I think the acre hints at Brazil, but I've also read reports that it may be native to Colombia. I'm not it's a bit conflicting information there, but what's interesting about this is that it's very similar to lucuma in regards to the fruit. I'll show that up on the screen, and whereas the actual leaves are quite different, they're pretty much the same size as a mamey, just more narrow. So for a bit of comparison, I've got a grafted mamey there. This one's actually from Daly's. That's the What's the grey type, if I can get that to focus? Maybe not. Let's get that. There we go. So yeah, grafted right there. And I've also got a grafted green sapote there as well. That's just pushed out new growth out the top. And this one is grafted there. So that one is from Scott Pointing's tree in Queensland. So yeah, that's doing well as well. But back to this Puteria SP acre. Yeah, it's just put out some new growth here. So the new leaves are sort of droopy until they harden up and become more perky like that one there. And I've also noticed that I've got some roots sticking out the bottom, so I actually think I might need to repot it. Some of the older growth is there where it got knocked about outside. So this thing can actually handle light frost. I had it out for a number of weeks back in winter, where it got some light leaf burn and some caterpillar started chewing on it as well. And I decided to bring it inside because I could see it wanted to push new growth and didn't want the new leaves to get bashed around. Like, you know, they're pretty soft when they're new. So in all honesty, I still think I need to have it in a greenhouse due to the large leaves and the wind. As you can see, if I have it out there, it's just going to get bashed around. It's not in a, you know, it's not being grown in far north Queensland in a protected area where there's, you know, low wind and high humidity. So I need to sort of recreate that in an artificial environment. Right next to it, I've got another seedling, and this one, yeah, it's interesting because this one doesn't have as big leaves, and it's a bit less vigorous. So I guess that's a trait with seedlings. You know, they're all sort of different in their own way. These ones are also sort of trying to lean forward because I've got them next to the window. So I've set this up just to demonstrate and space them out so I can explain the plants, but usually they're crammed right next to the window there. And due to the sun being high up in the horizon in summer, they're not getting enough direct sunlight during the day, even though this is a north facing window. During winter and, you know, autumn and spring, yeah, the sun is lower on the horizon, so they'll get direct sunlight, but due to the lack of that at the moment, they're sort of trying to search for it, as you can see. So it doesn't matter if I stake it, they still push against the stake. You know, here's another example of that happening on this Sonkoya, Annona purpurea, I think it is. Yeah, they're all sort of trying to lean towards the sunlight. So anyway, I'll try and finish up on this. So the fruit on this is claimed to be really good. So it's a silk or moist type of lucuma style of fruit. Highly acclaimed, so I'm really keen to see how it turns out. So yeah, I'll definitely be keeping these in the greenhouse long term, with the ceiling height being, you know, around 4 meters. I'm hoping I can maintain that height below that over the long term. So yeah, as I already mentioned, I've got the Mamey here, the green sapote, which they both will be in there as well. And I've got some Garcinias here. So I've got the multi-grafted Russell Sweet. So this one has 3 female grafts at the top and 2 male grafts on the side. It is trying to flower, if I can try and get it to focus. So this one flowered earlier a few months ago, and now it's pushing again. I think I need to maybe repot it as well. I can see some worm activity, like it keeps pushing up, so there's definitely worms in there. So I think I need to repot it because I'm worried it's going to get root rot I can already see some early signs of leaves getting burnt along the margins a bit. So I'm worried that those worms are starting to turn it into muck. So yeah, I'll have to repot it sometime soon to avoid that issue from getting worse. So some other garcinias, I've got a bush and mangosteen grafted there to resilient rootstock. This one I intend to keep permanently indoors. They are very slow growing, and this one's the giant type, which is self pollinating. So over the long term, if I can keep it alive and thriving, hopefully, it'll stay permanently indoors next to a bright sunny window, and it should be able to maintain height below 2 meters. I've got a grafted Luke's Jumbo. I'm sort of regretting getting it because it just doesn't grow, and multiple people have told me that this thing it's painfully slow to grow when it's grafted. I'm better off just getting a seedling and having that. So I've got it now. I just have to be patient with it, and hopefully it pushes out some new growth soon, because I've had this for 4 months at least and it hasn't done anything. I've got some other garcinia here. I can't remember what it is at the moment. Steve's written orange-beaked Gardenia on Braziliensis. So yeah, I'll try and flash that onto the screen if I can remember the variety later on. I've also got some grafted plinias here. So this one is the Olo de Boy, Eye of the Bull in English. This is approach grafted to Sabara. And I'm just keeping this indoors at the moment because when I got it, the root ball was very small, and I just wanted to grow out its root system to make it a bit more resilient to the outdoor weather before I put it out there, maybe just after summer. Yeah, I don't want to freak out. It can be quite windy like it is today, and I just want it to baby it for the next few months until I put it outside. I've also got a seedling. So this one I grew from seed. This is another Pityria, Butyrocapa, otherwise known as butter sapote. So yeah, this is another slow grower. I've had this now for around 2 years or just over that, and it did initially die back. I sent this over from Perth to Melbourne. So you can see the growth that I cut back previously, and it sprouted from the roots basically, and I'm very happy that it did that, because now it's going quite well. So this will be another one for the greenhouse, I reckon. It just goes so slow. I don't think it'll do well outside. So yeah, I'll keep it that way. Over here is the Eugenia anthropophaga. So this is another one from Steve. Seems to be doing all right. I sprayed it. I had some issue with mealybugs. I've got a few issues with mealybugs indoors. So I used some sort of natural insect spray for plants, and for some reason it didn't. It sort of burnt the leaves a bit somehow, and all that growth that I had on it fell off, and then recently it pushed out this new growth. So I'm trying to avoid using that spray. I might just try and use an oil or something that isn't gonna potentially damage the leaves. So yeah, it was weird because I wouldn't think it would, especially burn the leaves indoors in a shaded area. And also here I've got approach grafted to Sabara, giant red crystal. So this one has already shot out for me before, growing well, and now it's pushing out again. This variety, I think, is the largest leaved Djibouti carba that there is. As you can see, the The leaves are quite large, pretty much the size of a canistel leaf. The fruit is supposedly quite large as well, like they get to something like that. So really looking forward to that. Due to the leaves being so large and you know, my concern with the wind, these will probably get torn in the wind or, you know, damaged. So I thought this will be another greenhouse specimen because it's just, I don't think it's going to work outdoors. Over here I've got another type of canistel. So this one's called Kona. You can get it from Dailies, but this one actually I've had grafted to Lucuma for me. Approach grafted there, as you can see. Thinking that it would be a bit more resilient to the cold from that, but I've had it outdoors and I've had it fully defoliate before during winter, so I don't think that's going to make much difference. So again, this will probably be another greenhouse one. It's starting to push out some new growth there as well. So going back to this Annona Sunkoya, this one's grafted to mountain soursop, and yeah, it's really pushing hard to grow. Like this thing, I reckon would be quite vigorous in an ideal growing spot. Like it's pushing out constantly new leaves, and they're quite large, as you can see there. So yeah, another one for the greenhouse, and we'll see if we can keep it below that 4 meter height. I think that one will be a bit more of a challenge. Then yeah, I've got this Plinia clausa grafted to Sabra as well, but it's just really slow. Yeah, it hasn't really done much. I had it outdoors in winter for a few weeks, and it did get defoliated a bit as well. And I don't know if it's compatibility issues with Sabra. I wouldn't be surprised if it keeps declining, but that's the risk you have with, you know, doing that sort of grafting with different sort of species. You're not guaranteed success. And then lastly, I've got the seedling giant mulchi. So this one is about, I'd say, 6 years old now, and seems to be doing well. It's had some awkward growth to one side because of, again, I've got it next to the window, but hey, at least it's growing, right? So yeah, really good to see there. Another one for the greenhouse. So overall, that I think most of these plants should fill out, you know, once they're fully grown, that greenhouse will be close to capacity. I reckon I might be able to fit something else, maybe a few more plants, but see how we go. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that purpose. I do have more plants outside. I've got various Djibouti carbas and mangoes and white sapotes and things like that. Lots of figs outside as well in pots. Yeah, so most of those ones will all be outdoor plants. Today's pretty hot, 40 degrees, and looks like the wind's picking up. So I'm actually thinking of moving the Djibouti carbas under the alfresco, just so they don't get any leaf burn. But yeah, that's it, guys. I might do another video on the outdoor plants at some other stage, but that's it for now. Thank you.